A strange new twist in a case that's captivated the nation. Attorneys for the man accused of killing 2 young girls in Delphi, Indiana say it wasn't him. Instead, they claim the girls were killed as a part of a pagan ritual by a white nationalist group, despite previous confessions made by their client. Richard Allen is the man accused of the 2017 brutal slayings of 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams. Their bodies were discovered in February 2017 on a hiking trail near an abandoned railroad bridge in Delphi, Indiana. In a new 136-page motion filed on September 18th of this year, attorneys for Allen accuse investigators of ignoring critical evidence linking the killings to a group called Odinism, a pagan group which, according to the motion, has been hijacked by white nationalists.
These kind of things go on in rural Indiana. Like, this is not some kind of whole cloth theory that the defense just came up with. Again, all this information came from the discovery that was tendered by the state to them.
Criminal defense attorney Bob Motta has been following the Delphi murders case for years. He says the latest motion filed by Allen's defense team isn't just smoke and mirrors. And the filing also provides details about the crime scene that had not been previously released to the public, including signatures and symbols in the forms of runes.
The 3 cops who had decided to keep chasing this lead based on the evidence that they saw at a crime scene, that they thought that it looked like a ritualistic killing because of the tree branches and the way they were positioned, but more importantly to me, the way that the girls' bodies were positioned in certain, with arms being up, with their heads in certain directions, and then the blood on the tree, that seemed to appear to be the letter, that looked like a letter F.
According to the new motion, a former assistant police chief named Todd Click allegedly notified prosecutors about the lack of evidence against Allen in comparison to looking into Odinist followers in the area. In the filing, Allen's attorneys argue someone else committed the gruesome crime. Defense attorney Bob Motta agrees.
Where's the case against Richard Allen? What's his motive? I mean, I haven't heard any of that with Richard Allen. Right now, they're hanging their hat on the case that for some reason, because typically people don't confess on jail calls that they know are recorded. Typically, that's not a thing that typically happens. So, the fact that that is the strongest piece of evidence that they have is interesting. It's not a strong case against the guy forensically. They have nothing. And the other big thing that comes out of that, which was like a little kernel in there, is that they're saying, look, there is no DNA that is putting Richard Allen at that crime scene. And more importantly than the DNA, because I had heard that there was no DNA that they recovered from that scene, is that they didn't find any evidence whatsoever on any of his devices.
One person who Allen's team points to specifically in the motion is the father of a boy one of the victims had been dating prior to her death. But the boy's father previously denied any involvement in the murders, and in response to the latest motion filed, the boy's father took to his social media to say if he had the money, he'd sue Allen's attorney for pain and anguish caused to him and his family. Allen's defense team's latest motion comes after the July decision by a judge not to move Allen from the Westville Correctional Facility, where he's been housed since his arrest. The filing states that at least 2 guards from the prison have intimidated and abused their client and are also members of the Odinite cult. Ultimately, Allen's attorneys want what's called a Frank hearing to determine if the search warrant for Allen's home was based on an inaccurate probable cause, which, according to Bob Motta, should be granted by the judge.
There's pieces there, and it's all going to get laid out at this hearing, which is going to be a bombshell hearing one way or another.
If a judge grants a hearing and rules in Allen's favor, all of the evidence collected as a result of the warrant will be inadmissible in the murder case. Allen's murder trial is slated for January of 2024. For the Law and Crime Network, I'm Elizabeth Millner.